Hey gang, today by request we're going to do Magic by Pilot, great song from the 70s. We'll do the intro solo, we will do the harmonized solo about 3/4 of the way through the song, and we'll do the chords too, because I know that those are kind of mysterious to a lot of folks. So here we go. Alright gang, let's go over this line for line, note for note. Before we do, I want to mention, definitely want to download the tab and the chord diagrams for this one because it's going to make your life a lot easier. I'm going to be relying on it pretty heavily during this lesson. Alright, song is in the key of G, and we're going to be playing up here primarily, for the intro, we're going to be playing primarily right up here in the 12th position, G major pentatonic. I should also say I've taken off the distortion for the teaching part of this lesson, and you'll want to have a moderate amount of gain on your amp when you do this, just to get that sustain. Okay, so here we go. Here's the first part. I'm going to play it slowly, and then we'll break it down line by line. Okay, here we go, slowly. So, as I said, this is in G major pentatonic, and pretty much everything except that last line is in G major pentatonic. The last one is kind of from a blues scale or a G minor pentatonic, if you will. Either one is okay to think about. All right, so it starts out with this line. Very typical. We're up here on the 12th fret. We're going to be playing a lot with the bending on the 3rd string, 14th fret, bending that up a whole step. And we're also going to double on the 12th as we bend that 14th up. All right, so here's the first line. All right, here's the second line, and if you can just keep that whole note up there sustained and bring it down. Okay, here's the second line is this. What's interesting about that one is we're bending up on the 14th very slowly until we essentially get that whole step up, and then we're playing the 12th on the 2nd. And that's a doubling note or a unison note. You probably hear it in like a lot of things like, it's sort of classic rock unison bend. But here we're bending it up slowly, and we're not playing it unison bend, we're playing each note individually, like so. One more time. Okay, so here's the third line. All right, again, very straightforward. We're playing the 15th, bending that up a whole step, bringing it down. Or not bringing it down. And then we're playing the 14th very quickly, bending it up. You can even do a pre-bend if you want. One more time, here's the whole line. Okay, here's the last line, or the next line. Okay, again we're starting out with that bend up to a unison note. timing on that last part, so practice that a bit. Okay, here's the last part. Now that line's from a G minor pentatonic over a G. Starts out with the 6th fret on the 2nd string, and then we're going to play the 3rd string 5th fret, bend that up. Let it come down, play the 3rd and 3rd fret, 3rd string, and then play the 5th fret, 4th string. Here's the whole line. All right. And that is that for the first part. Here it is again, moderately slow. Now here's the second solo, and this is harmonized, so I'm going to put on my harmonizer, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. We'll do the whole thing, but then I'll show you how to do it without the harmonizer. Sounds pretty cool. So here it is. So I've got my harmonizer on. I'll tell you what the settings are, but I'll show you how to do it without it if you don't have one. That's the first part, okay? So that first part, with the harmonizer on, you'll want to put your harmonizer in the key of G, and you want to put it on fifths. Now I think that there's 2 notes, so I don't have a fancy harmonizer. I think he's playing 3 notes there. I say 2 notes above the line that he's playing, the 3rd and the 5th, but we're just going to play the 5th. And we're going to start out here on the 12th fret, 2nd string, and play 12, 10, 8. We're going to do it again. Then we're going to play 15th and play it twice, or I'm sorry, 3 times, and then bend. Now I'm bending it up a whole step. You can also simply play a whole step up on the 17th if you wish. That sounds fine. I like the bend. Okay, then we're going to bend a bunch of times on the 15th. And then that end is a 14th full step and 14th to end it. Once more, the last time is. Okay? So, that's that part. Now, to play it without the harmonizer, bam, now I just took it off. Now I have no harmonizer. And what we're going to do is we're going to play double stops. So we'll play the string above. We're always going to be playing that, that first string now and the second string. So the first one is like this. All right, so here we're playing 12th on the 2nd and 10th on the 1st. Slide that whole thing down 2 frets. And then the last one is the 8th on the 2nd and the 7th on the 1st. You do that twice. Now here's the second part you can do. Now we're playing the 15th and the 15th on the 1st. And I'm going to bend up the 15th on the 2nd. I'm not going to do it 3 times, and then I do it the last time and hold it. And then the last one I play the 14th on the 3rd, 15th on the 2nd, and bend the 14th up a whole step and bring it down. Personally, I really like how that sounds, so it would sound like this. Whole thing now, slowly. And up to speed. Now here's the last part. So this one is first string, 17th fret. That's pretty high up there. You're going to bend it a whole step. At the end, you're going to bring it down and then play the 15th. So, like so. Now a run, and this is just a run on the G scale. So it's like this. And it sounds like an extra note there. It ends on a really interesting note. That G flat or F sharp on the third string, 11th fret. Again, it's like this. Okay. The last part is like this. A lot like that opening, right? And the last note is you're playing on the first, on the 13th, and you're bending up to that G. And that, my friends, is it. That's the whole second solo, harmonized and not harmonized, with the harmonizer and without the harmonizer, in case you don't have one. Now let's cover the chords. All right, now the chords, for a lot of folks, are a little bit mysterious. And I can't remember the guy's name. Is it David Paton, or I can't remember. But the singer in there, he was apparently very angry that a lot of people are getting them wrong. So these are largely from him, but they do seem to match. First of all, so you'll notice that it's sort of chunking, and in fact on the record there's even a wah pedal going on there. So so you can do that if you want, but it starts out in G. Now I'm just playing a G power chord, so as you'll see on the diagram, I'm just playing a G sort of power there. So I'm playing the third and the fifth. B minor. You can play an E minor, sounds just fine. Forgive me, lead singer from Pilot. I think that sounds fine, but if you want to play it an E minor ninth, either that one or this one, that's what he says is going on there. Personally, I don't really hear it. I just hear that E minor. Okay, now here's the cool part. A minor. Now that is a C sharp half diminished. That's a cool chord. Another way you can think of that is as a ninth chord, but with a C sharp in the bass. That's an interesting way to look at it because you're going from an A minor to an A ninth chord. Interesting. So you're giving that hint of a key change there. But anyway. And if you're playing the power chunk chords, you're basically just playing the C sharp there on the 5th string, which is the 4th fret. And on the 5th fret, or I'm sorry, on the 4th string, you're playing the 5th fret. So A minor, C sharp half diminished, C, and D, and I'm playing power chords on those too. And then it does the whole thing again. So I'll spell those out. G, B minor, E minor, A minor, C sharp half diminished, C, D, and G. And now a cool chord here. is basically an F added ninth with a G in the bass. Okay, you can think of it as simply an F chord, but putting a G in the bass, and that sounds good too. That's really close. That's really close. Another way of doing it is simply to play this. You're going to play if you play that, let me just think about it out loud here. As you're playing that F chord, you just put a G in the bass, like move your third finger down to your third finger instead of on the 5th string, you're going to put it on the 6th string, same fret, 3rd fret. And that sounds great. But if you want to add that 9th on top, one way of doing it is playing this chord. So let's outline that. On the 6th string, you're going to play 3. On the 5th string, you're not going to play anything, but you're going to kind of deaden that. On the 4th string, you're going to play 3, 3rd fret. On the 3rd string, you're going to leave that open. That's hard to just leave open. If you deaden it, not a big deal. On the 2nd string, you're going to play the 1st. And on the 1st string, you're going to play the 3rd fret. So it sounds like this. Very cool chord. Here's the whole thing again. E minor, A minor, C sharp half diminished, C, D, G, and there's that F added ninth with a G in the bass. All right. And then, one last thing. In the regular part, where it's oh ho ho, it's magic, that's a G, the B minor, or B minor 7th, you know, A minor 7th, D, and I do a little suspended thing, and then back to G, B minor 7th, it's magic, you know, A minor 7th, never believe it's hard. That's a D, and then C minor, so C minor, that's a cool chord, and G. All right, so it goes like that. And you're ready to roll. That's it. That's whole song. All right, gang. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on down the road.